Today, in this video, I'll be figuring out how good was Lamar Jackson's 2024 season actually. I'll be going over stats and giving an unbiased opinion of how good it actually was. The Ravens would open up their season on Thursday Night Football with a loss against the Chiefs. They would lose 27-20, and Lamar would go 26-41, which is a 63.4% completion, 273 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. This game was also known for the infamous Isaiah Likely being barely out of bounds for what it would have been a game-tying touchdown. So they start off 0-1, but Lamar had a solid game. They would then go to play the Las Vegas Raiders, where they would lose 26-23. Really surprising that they're starting off 0-2. Lamar went 21 for 34, which is 61.8% completion. He threw 247 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So, to this point, he was not looking very good. 2 losses, though they're both really close. Not a good way to start your season. He also rushed for 45 yards. In the Kansas City game, he rushed for 122. So, he was still doing good on the ground. Then they'd go to Dallas, where they'd finally pick up their first win of the season, squeaking out a win 28-25. Lamar would go 12 for 15, which is an 80% completion rate, 182 passing yards, a touchdown, no picks. He would also rush for 87 yards on the ground with a rushing touchdown. They would then go on to play the Buffalo Bills, where they'd win 35-10. Lamar would complete 13 for 18, which is a 72.2% completion, 156 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He would rush for 54 yards on the ground with a touchdown. They'd then go on to play Cincinnati, where they would win in overtime, 41-38. He'd complete 26 out of 42 passes, which is a 61.9% completion. He'd throw 348 passing yards and 4 touchdowns with no picks. He'd also add 55 rushing yards on the ground. They would then go to Washington, where they'd win 30-23. Lamar would go 20 for 26 for 323 passing yards. 20 for 26 is 76.9% completion. He'd throw 1 touchdown, but also a pick. He'd rush for 40 yards on the ground as well. So he had a pretty ineffective game on the ground, but they'd still pull out a win against Washington. Then they'd play Tampa Bay Monday Night Football. Lamar would go 17 for 22 with 281 passing yards. 17 for 22 is a 77.3% completion. He'd throw 5 touchdowns, no picks. He'd also rush for 52 yards on the ground. So this is what I'd say his best game of the season was. They'd then go on to play Cleveland, where they'd actually lose 29-24. Very unexpected. Lamar would still have a great game, though, going 23 for 38, which is a 60.5% completion, passing for 289 yards, through 2 touchdowns with no picks, and add 46 rushing yards on the ground. They'd then bounce back against Denver, where they'd win 41-10. Lamar would go 16 for 19 for 280 passing yards with 3 touchdowns and no picks. He'd only actually rushed for 4 yards on the ground here, but he'd still show that he's effective through the air. They'd then go play Cincinnati on Thursday, where they squeak out a win 35-34. Lamar would go 25 for 33, 290 passing yards, 75.8% completion, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He'd also rush for 33 yards on the ground. They would then play Pittsburgh, where they'd actually end up losing 18-16. Lamar actually threw for under 50% completion, going 16 for 33. He'd have 207 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and 46 rushing yards on the ground. I'd say this is his worst game up to here. They then go play Los Angeles, the Chargers, where they'd squeak out a win 30-23. Lamar would go 16 for 22, 177 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 15 rushing yards with a rushing touchdown. They'd go play Philly, where they'd lose 24-19. Lamar would go 23 for 36, which is a 63.9% completion. He complete 237 passing yards with 2 touchdowns and no picks. He also added 79 rushing yards on the ground. They'd go play New York, where they'd win 35-14. Lamar would go 21 for 25 with an 84% completion with 5 passing touchdowns, no picks. He'd also add 65 rushing yards on the ground. They'd then go play Pittsburgh, where they'd win 34-17, splitting the series. Lamar to go 15 for 23, 207 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. He had 22 rushing yards on the ground. They'd go play Houston, where they won 31-2. 31-2. I remember seeing this game like, holy hell, that was horrible. So, yeah, Lamar went 10 for 15, 168 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 87 rushing yards with a rushing touchdown. And for the last game of the season, they'd play Cleveland, where they'd win 35-10. Lamar would go 16 for 32, which is a 50% completion, 217 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 63 rushing yards on the ground. Now we go to the playoffs. In the first round of the playoffs in the wild card, they'd face off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They'd win 28-14. Lamar goes 16 for 21, 175 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He'd also rush for 81 yards on the ground. They'd then go play Buffalo in the divisional, where they'd lose 27-25. Lamar went 18 for 25, which is a 72% completion, 254 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and had 39 yards on the ground. This game is also known for the infamous drop by Mark Andrews for the 2-point conversion. So throughout the season, the Ravens would go 12-5 with the help of Lamar. Lamar would throw 4,172 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 picks. He'd also add 915 yards on the ground with 4 rushing touchdowns. Now, I love Josh Allen, but I really think Lamar should have won the MVP here. I think they really didn't pick him because of recency bias, because he had just won an MVP. Again, I love Josh, but I really think Lamar had such a great season. He should have been MVP. I think this is his best year up to date. I think this is better than his previous MVP season. He was insane. 41 passing touchdowns and 4 picks. That's like an Aaron Rodgers stat line. He also threw for over 4,000 yards and 915 rush yards. He totaled over 5,000 yards on the ground and through the air. And up on the screen right now, I should have a how many good games, mid games, and bad games he had. And I'm guessing right now that he's had a lot of good games. My final verdict for Lamar Jackson is that he is a great quarterback who probably should have been the MVP last year. Again, I love Josh Allen. So thank you for watching.